what? How are you? We have some Q&A to do. I hope you're doing fine, 'cause it's Q&A time again. Hello, world. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. If not, as always, I hope it gets better for you. These hill trouts, Sir Henri. Look, my dude got hurt. I think he jumped and hit that. Now he's got a cut or a wound, or the hill trouts are causing that, which they're about to get moved. We'll take any aggression away from this tank, put them into there. But anyways, hello. Welcome to another Friday Night Live Q&A, where you're going to ask me questions and the community questions on keeping freshwater fish, shrimp, and or plants. You guys will be able to watch them through this live stream. And let me know if you see them picking on them barbs. I see them, they go around each other a lot, but I've never actually seen them snap at a barb. That dude definitely looks like he's been chewed on. So, luckily I got that tank over here in front of us, ready to go for them. I just haven't had time to move them over. I've been off hunting pond parts today and all kinds. I've been all around the world today, trying to get naps here and there. But hello everybody in the chat. Glad to see you all. Thanks all for being here. I'm gonna get into live chat. I don't have Candy here to remind me. But yeah, if you got your freshwater questions, this is the place. And so far, no questions yet. Oh, there's no trim with the first question. It says, I'm thinking about trying to colonize brine shrimp in an outside tub. How sensitive are they to temperature? So I personally don't have any practice with temperature differences with brine shrimp. But I know some people have done it. So I'm guessing they have some kind of temp flux variation, because it has been done. If you wanted to, maybe put in a heater, try to insulate whatever you're putting outside. And then that way you could dial it up a little more, or dial it in as far as the temperature. And I mean, the best thing to do is trial and error as well, or you could always Google search, but trial and error will really help you as well. And if somebody in the chat has any experience with brine shrimp or and their temp fluctuations, then help us out, please. That'd be helpful. Kenny Turk says, what time is it there? It is 9:30 here. So it is 9:30 here as well, p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I'm at in the state of Indiana. And thank you, Xanadu, for asking people to hit the thumbs up. So I often don't. So thank you. Glad your blue dreams are doing well, Christopher. Great to hear. Alec the Nice says, anyone ever fought gill flukes? So I have. I've fought it. General cure helps. Also, if you can get like a stress coat or a Paragard or something like that to help with their kind of skin slime coat, that helps for any secondary infections that could come about from gill flukes, because they're just tiny little critters chewing on the gills, and they can cause lacerations. So it helps hit it up with something that helps those secondary infections. But the general cure should take care of it. Because your fish says brine shrimp live in the Great Salt Lake with heavy temp flux. Triple J Aquatics says, hey fish fam, what's good, man? LRB. You know, it's Friday, can't complain. Staying busy. I'm glad I was able to make it here for you guys. I literally just took a nap. It was probably like a 45-minute nap, and then got up. It took everything for me to get up. But I'm here. I am here. Didn't get much sleep last night. Just so much to do. Trying to knock it all out because we got Aquashella coming up and just all these projects. I need to get the house in order as much as possible, especially with that pond. Can you Turk says, how do you insulate and filter your tubs outdoors? I stuck a bathtub in the ground and I'm second guessing that decision, but it looks good, believe it or not. I bet that does look cool. So all I did was put housing foam around it. So even with your bathtub, well, you'd have to get the bottom part, which would be essential. You would have to take the bathtub out. But you get that housing foam, or even thicker the foam. They do make garage floor foaming. It's like super thick. But if you don't want to get that and pay the extra, then you can just do like the purple sheeting house that you would get for home building, and put that on the bottom and around the sides, and then you can glue it together with the foam spray, the housing insulation foam spray, and then that would create you an insulated barrier, and just put the dirt up around it as your frame. But for my tubs, I used a PVC frame, and I've got lots of videos where I talk about these systems. There's a whole playlist for it, the Heated Outdoor Tubs playlist, if you want to check that out for more in depth. And then I just use the big 500 watt heaters, and I always like to back up my heaters too, because one, your one heater's not working as hard when it's got one to heat the place up in tandem. And two, if one goes out, then you've got the other one saving your butt. Devarium Mitchum, or however you say that, I appreciate it. I'll just call you Dev. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Says, I made it. I'm awake for once. Keep up the good work, brother. LRB for the win. Thank you so much. I appreciate the super chat and the support. And like I said before, I cannot do this without you guys. You guys have been awesome with the help. And it goes a long way. And sorry if I'm missing any questions here. Do my best to read it all. Triple J Aquatics says, LRB, I'm a stay-at-home parent, spouse due to medical reasons. I'd love to use my life, or use my love for this hobby, same as life, to supplement my wife's income. Any advice? Well, that's a big one right there. So you just want me to teach you? Let's see. The best advice I would say is just get a bunch of tanks, because it takes, like, it's a volume game. It's a nickel and dime game when it really comes to money for this hobby. If you want to get a license and flip products, there's all kinds of ways to do it. You can breed shrimp, you can grow plants, you just essentially become a farmer in a sense. You can do fish. There's all kinds of ways to skin a cat. Let me put it this way. You could do editorials for people. There's all kinds of stuff within this hobby. So find your strengths, go from there, and see how you can implement them into the hobby. And that would give you the best tracking, because if you really want to go a direction, make sure you're going down a direction that's going to make you happy. Don't let money drive you. See, I don't let money drive me, so that's why it makes it a hard question for me. You can't let money drive you, because that won't. I know money's great, everybody wants money, but when it comes to happiness in your own life, you have to put it together yourself. Sometimes that takes time and pondering. So that's my best advice for you. Heidi says, if you want to keep and breed Neos and your tap is like 8+, is it still possible? Should I alter my pH religiously? I can't RODI, but I love shrimp. Help. So 8+ pH is definitely possible, even higher than that. When I first started keeping Neocaridinias, my pH was off the charts. You couldn't even read it. And Yeah, neocaridinias, they don't mind. They don't mind at all. And anytime that you try to alter things and switch up parameters for this and that, that's when you actually cause more problems, because you're creating errors into a system that's usually, once it's cycled, it's already ready. You just got to trust Mother Nature and what she does, and make a comfortable, cycled, mature place for your shrimp, to where it's got all that beneficial bacteria around it, and you'll be good. And that's how I started off with my neos. They absolutely love that high pH. I'm not sure who's telling you that they can't take high pH, but it doesn't surprise me that that's swinging back around in the hobby. It used to be an old thing that they used to say. I haven't heard that for a while. But good luck to you, and check out my shrimp videos if you need any other help on how to keep them. I've got one that goes through like pretty much the whole shebang of keeping shrimp and how I keep them. And I've been keeping shrimp a long time. I've got international awards. I'm going to be judging the Aquashella, the American Shrimp Contest down there, here in a couple weeks. So do know the shrimp. Can You Turk says, I just got the okay to buy Aquashella tickets like 30 minutes ago. Do you know what booth you'll be in? So I don't know the exact booth, but I will have a 10 by 10 booth there. But that's awesome you're going. And yeah, hope to meet you there, and awesome. Victor says, do you just let your aquariums do their thing and let the plants get out of control? I love the look of your tanks. So lately I have, like, it's been a year at least of just letting the tanks go wild. I am planning on manicuring them a little more, like some of them, just because, I mean, I do got to get business savvy here, but like, I don't know. It's hard to do because some of these systems are really cool. Like for instance, this Shelly tank right here. You see that view? There's just like a little bit of algae. Then you got like the root growth and then the Nubius, and it just looks nice. Same with here. I mean, it doesn't look the greatest, but I don't know. I like all the little ecosystems that come about of just making it or letting it go crazy. Look at this Vallisneria. It's just floating in here growing. It's nuts. Like the glass is dirty. It makes it look like there's algae in it, but it's actually really clean corkscrew valve. Just floating and growing. Then of course this one, so I don't know. I love the natural tanks though. I'll just let them do their thing right now, but we'll get into designing them more, cleaning them up once I get this little water change system done. I've been trying to get the glue and more of that, but always something taking my time away from it. That's goals along with the pond this weekend. I got a scratch on my glass. Once again, sorry if I missed the questions, because now I'm kind of way behind. Took my finger off the thing. Brian Kovaleski says, what about that riot shield from yesterday's video? Definitely, it's not a riot shield. It's a ballistic shield. So you don't want to take a riot shield to a gunfight if you were ever in one. But just home defense, you know, when everything was getting all crazy, I live in a big city. You never know. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. That's always been my motto. And a lot of people forget about defense. They just know about the offense. Tell you what, you run up on a guy with both, you ain't gonna get far. That's the story of that. Kevin's Canines and Aquatics says, all red, orange, and yellow seem to be breeding fine, but blue dreams are not doing as well. Why? Huh, interesting. It's really hard to tell. It's got to be something maybe within the setup or something that happened to the setup at some point in time. So maybe there was some excess food in there that was causing them problems. I don't know when you say that they're not fine. it's just they're breeding, or it sounds like it's just about breeding. So maybe if you don't have a rock pile, maybe you just need a little more time. I don't know, it's hard to tell. If the other ones are breeding, if your systems are the same. But those are some things to maybe look into. And sometimes it just, like, one colony will breed quicker than the other. Like, everything has its own flow. Yeah, Snail Team 6 says, Heidi, I use distilled water to dilute and wean them off it slowly. Okay, so if you, I wonder if you're talking about getting shrimp. Oh, here's Dan Slee talking about the 800 TDS too. But yeah, sometimes we'll get the shrimp and they'll be from softer water. And he's talking about weaning them off, kind of like acclimating them into the harder water, which I haven't seen a lot of issue with myself, but it definitely doesn't hurt. But if you're doing that, make sure it's a decent volume of water that you're diluting them with. Because some people, we like to put them in the small containers and acclimate them that way, and sometimes that just causes more stress and issue than it really solves. Robbie Noel says Java Moss, Dice, Flame Moss, and Physodin Nobilis looks great. Well, that's a good trade-off. Florida Hardwater 75C. Wonder if you mean F. Low Tech, Ferts, any ideas? If you blast Java Moss with a lot of light, I know sometimes it doesn't care for it that much. So maybe try a dimmer setup with the Java Moss. And me personally, I don't have Java Moss in my fish room either. So I really couldn't tell you. I'm not a Java Moss pro. So I'm sure there's gotta be a Java Moss pro in here somewhere. Daniken Aquatics, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Always great to see you in here, Danny and Ken. Hope you guys are doing great. Says Friday night shenanigans. What's up, Lucas? You know, the shenanigans of being here on Friday. Wouldn't want it any other way, that's for sure. I just can't wait to get these tanks clean. Like, as much as I do like the setups and stuff, I mean, look at those crypts. Like, it's crazy. But I don't know. It seems like it needs color. There's a lot of green. Got a lot of green. That algae tank's cool too, though. I don't know. It's a love-hating relationship with these tanks all the time. I'm sure you guys know how it goes. I'm sure some of you guys feel my feelings on that. Once again, sorry if I'm missing those questions. Yes, Ken U Turk says ballistic shield, better have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Indeed. My crypto plants are not producing babies. Any tricks? So they can be slow going at the start. Now I don't know the sexes of the plants and how that really works. I don't know if they're hermaphrodite where they can be male or female. I don't think that's really a situation. So I would just say you just got to give it time. Don't move them around. You move crypts around, they'll stall out on you. They'll take their sweet time. Sand really helps. They love sand. I mean, they'll pretty much grow in anything. But yeah, you just got to give them time and don't let their roots get cold. They do not like cold roots. And they do like the warmer temps. Victor, tips on growing Anubias. Put them in a low light situation, very low light situation. And also helps to have a faster growing plant in with them to soak up excess nutrients, because often when we do Anubias tanks, the Anubias aren't that great of soaking up the nutrients fast enough because they are slow growers. So maybe balance it off with a fast grower, or just watch your supplementation, which is kind of hard to do with some tap water. Like, you're just going to get all kinds of minerals and nutrients naturally through that. So it is good to off balance with a faster grower. And when I say that, something like pearlweed or guppy grass or any kind of moss, stem plants, but it usually has to be like a good amount of stem plants, not just a few here and there. Vallisneria, pennywort. Efren 422 says, I'm raising juvenile angelfish and discus for a future 90-gallon tank. Both are about 2 inches. Should I keep them all together or raise them separately? I mean, that's a really good question. It's a really good question. I think your numbers will be better just due to aggression-wise by separating them. And then that way you're organized down the road too. Better safe than sorry than taking that gamble on keeping them together. And thank you for asking them to hit that like. Appreciate that. The host says, does that water change system work the same as your current systems? So the water change system that I have now is I got the water plumbed in from the house that adds into the tank. But then as far as discharging, I still siphon hoses. So every system's separate. But with the new system I'm putting to take the water out, it will still be a separate system. So yes, essentially the same. It'll just be amped up a little bit with a motor and some tubing. And this way I can just open up dials when I need to do quick water changes. It won't get me around my deep cleans. Like, you still got to go around and do like your deep clean. Like, you'll always have algae. Doesn't matter how good of an aquarium keeper you are. You could be the best in the world. You'll always have some algae to scrape or some algae to remove, or plants to trim, or debris to get out of your tank. And a lot of time is the debris is an issue as well, and that causes a lot of algae issues. It's one of the #1 culprits, that and excess food. And Noah Trim, thank you. Hopefully you're still in here, but I know I was rambling. I wanted to say thank you for becoming a member. That is awesome of you, Noah. Thank you. Now, Kevin says, I have a lot of oranges, fire reds, yellows are doing pretty well, blah, blah. Don't generally see blue dreams in that tank. Have rock piles and cholo wood, not doing very well. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what kind of substrate you got, which, I mean, we've talked about that. I think you have them on that sand. Yeah, just give them time. Christopher McAlpine says, what should I feed the blue dreams? I like to use the Tetracolor tropical granules. Got some hanging there. Those granules are great. That's what I feed everything. Not sponsored either. I'm not sponsored by anybody besides like Custom Tanks. I kind of am sponsored by them. Because they hooked me up, which I got a great idea for this tank down here now. I think I know what I'm gonna do with it. For those who know what I'm talking about. Kenny Turk says, so I know all states are different, but do you think if I wild caught non-game fish and bred them that I would sell the babies? I can't find an answer. I'm about ready to ask a game warden. Really, if there's no law up against it, then shouldn't it be an issue, but definitely never hurts to just ask the game warden. I'm sure they'll just be like, I don't know, that's just some tiny fish. Because usually if it isn't a fish of value, which is more of like eating wise, instead of just keeping in an aquarium like we do, then the state really doesn't even care. It's me says, any plants come back in stock, dwarf sage, etc. So actually, yes, I did actually added some yesterday. Todd W says, do you paint the back of all your tanks black? For the most part, I do. I just like how it makes everything pop. Like, sometimes it looks good if you have a white wall and a white background. It can look really, really cool too. How often do you cull your cherry shrimp? So, about every week. A little bit every week. Tetros, you mean I bought? Yeah. I mean, they know I promoted them for a while, but I mean, what I'm gonna do? Force them to cut me a check? I mean, I like the stuff, and they already know I'm bought, or that I already like the stuff, so can't really change my mind. I'm not gonna just change it for a price either. There's been people try to get me to use other foods. A lot of people try to get me to use other foods, which I've tried some here and there, and it just doesn't hit like those granules. What is culling, Mig Solos as? So culling is taking out the color variations of ones that you don't want in the colony, which I've got a separate tank for. So I'll take out the ones that I don't think make the grade for the colony, or they stand out from everybody else, where they're just a little lighter in color, and then go put them in another tank. Or if they're like a mutation or a morph of some other color, depending on what you're culling. Same thing with guppies and endlers. Abby Hoffer says, how do you disinfect a siphon when treating for ick, or do you? So I use really, really, really hot water. So I've got a really hot water heater. It pretty much cooks it off. And the thing about ick is you could treat it with temperature too. As long as you're up above 86 degrees, you could kill ick. You just got to do it for 30 days. Keep your tank up above 86 degrees. And you'll kill it. Then you don't even have to get your hose dirty. Even better. Can you Turk says, does Jungle Val make runners? Yes, all valves make runners, like Sag too. I put one beat up piece in an outdoor tub, and there is a plant that looks like it, but the water is only 6 inches deep, so it's short, so I don't know what it is. So yeah, it can definitely make runners, and that's possibly what it is. Val loves it outside. My Val that I have outside, it just goes bonkers in the sun. Brandon Poggeter says, hello man, hope you're doing good. Have a problem with my marbled walking catfish. Keep it in a 150 gallon, but still hits into the glass. What size do you prefer? As far as tank, a walking catfish. Is that like a Bashir or something? What is a walking catfish? I don't think I know what that is. And if it's hitting the glass at 150 gallons, that's crazy. So I don't know, always bigger the better. SC Fish Keeping just did this video of this, it's like this pond liner thing. It's what a lot of people use for monster fish when they don't have an aquarium. It's just like this framed up pond liner. But this one has like a clear view. I think it was 400 some bucks. And it was, I think over 400 gallons. It's something crazy. Maybe that's an option to look at. I believe it was SC Fish Keeping. It was like his last video. So if you were to go to his channel, you'd be able to see what I'm talking about. Which, don't go there until after this live stream. Make a note. Triple J Aquatics says, LRB, do you sell your coals or do you feed them to your other tanks? So I sell my coals because my coals aren't just like throwaways. And they got some really neat genetics too. Everybody loves scriddles. That's how I do my coals, where I'll just, they're pretty much my scriddles. Against the Flow says, how can I clear up green water without starving my plants for light? So the best way to do, maybe get a little Daphnia, throw it in there. They'll eat up any green water. But if you can't get Daphnia, then you kind of just want to do it over time, either with more plants and get any debris or anything decaying out from in the substrate. So kind of get your fingers into the substrate, siphon out a lot of that mulm, because what will happen is that green algae and the green water will settle at the bottom and it'll turn into like this green sludge. And as long as that green sludge lives in that tank, it'll continuously just keep popping up. No matter how many water changes you do, it will keep popping up. So you have to get it cleaned out. You have to get any debris, decaying materials out. And yeah, starving it by light, it won't work. Because then you have that algae sludge that is going to try to die off in that tank. And then you risk more potential for other problems of more necrotic bacterias and stuff growing into your aquarium. Finn Wiggles, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Finn Wiggles, so much for the continued support. Throwing down the $10 super chat. Great to see you in here as always, Finn. So scrolling. Knight Rider says the end show us how to use those, how those color granules hit. Yes, we'll definitely do that. I'll try to remember that. We'll throw them in that tank. It's the best way to show them how they hit. Mark says, what do you think about cats, dogs drinking out of outdoor tubs safe? I mean, yeah, ours do all the time. Ours will drink in the ones in here too. Any tips for Werner's rainbow fish? Ask Meg Solo. So with the Werner's rainbow fish, they can be a little more difficult as far as when it comes to breeding rainbows. One of the most challenging ones I've come across, and I think it's because their eggs are real small and the fry are real small as well. It's not impossible. You can spawn mop them, but you're going to want infusoria or something really, really minute and natural for raising them out, preferably. So paramecium or infusoria, maybe vinegar eels to raise them up with. Like if I have a dirty shrimp tank, like my shrimp tanks, after time, all the microorganisms can build up, like infusoria and paramecium. That's where I would throw my threadfin rainbows. And as far as temps, they don't really care as long as you're within the 70s, 80s. They don't really care. Softer water definitely helps, just especially with funguses and stuff like that, but it's not necessary. Now, I think you could go too hard on them as far as their eggs and ability to hatch. Father Fish, holy moly, thank you so much, Father Fish, for the huge $20 super chat, my brother. Wow, great to see you in here, Father Fish, and thank you so much for that awesome super chat. Hope you're doing well. I see you're knocking out them vids on the channel. Been watching them. Yeah, I appreciate that. That is awesome. Thank you. Chattanooga Ed, thank you for the $5 super chat as well. Says this is for the first drink in Orlando. All right, well, I'll make sure to put that 5 in my pocket and bring it down and we'll drink it together. Thank you, Ed. I appreciate it, Chattanooga Ed. And can't wait to see you down there. It's going to be a blast. And I'm happy I get to go. I will miss the Killy event. It's kind of bittersweet, but you know, it's life. That's life. Can't have it all, right? But yeah, I can't wait to see you all. I think this is the better choice than the Killy event, just because I know there's many more of you guys that I'll see down there. And we'll have a lot of fun. But thank you. And Danican Aquatics, thank you so much for the $5 super chat, which I will hopefully see at the ACA. Says drink for Sarah while you're at Aquashella. LOL. Well, thank you, Danican, for looking out for Sarah. I'm sure she appreciates that. And I'll have to get her a margarita or something. Well, that'll have to be after hours. I don't know. I don't really drink, though, myself. It's hard for me to drink, especially if I'm working at Aquashella. Well, I mean, I guess I don't have to drink alcohol. Who knows? I might get a wild hair, too. We'll see. But thank you guys for the support and the super chats. Kevin says, don't like pest snails. Suggestions on what I can do. So, you can either start keeping a softer water situation or get some loaches to clear them out. Or, I don't know what else, or because I'm so pro snail. Maybe somebody in the community can help you, but I'm pro snail, so the rest of what I would say would be in vain. No. Mange tells him first, says, never had time to email you, so here is my question. Blue Gularis killifish, can they breed and raise their young in the tank? It's not impossible. It has been done. It does happen. But it's really tricky and highly unlikely. So definitely not a community type breeder, because usually when you're wanting to breed killies, you want to breed them in a smaller tank, like a 5 to 10 gallon. You put them in a bigger tank, they don't really breed as much, just because they're not near each other as much, I guess. And so when it comes to community breeding, then in smaller spaces it becomes more of a problem. So it is best to collect the eggs if you want any kind of number out of it, or any kind of luck. Christopher McAlpine, thank you so much. I hope I'm saying your last name right, but thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate it, Christopher. Thank you. That's awesome. And for the $10 super chat, holy moly, my brother, thank you. Wow, much appreciated. You guys are awesome. You guys are absolutely awesome. Chattanooga Ed says, I was in St. Louis last weekend. It was boring. You made the right choice. Not my boys in St. Louis. Don't say that. It's all what you make out of it. But I know what you mean. It's a smaller crowd. It's a decent sized crowd, though, for when it comes to fish clubs. The St. Louis, they represent. I haven't been there since the whole everything that transpired with our globe. So I don't know. But they've always held it down. Sunset Jen said, hey Lucas, breeding question, 2 M endlers, similar colors, 1 female. Would you choose first male for tail shape or opaqueness of color? Thanks. Well, see, this is when beauty becomes in the eye of the beholder, and this is all kind of within you. So which would you think that the line would look best with? The tail shape or the color? and or both, or maybe you can get a little bit of both out of one or the other, or maybe work it in one way or this way or that way. I don't know what you're really trying to accomplish as far as what you're wanting to get out of it. But you could go either way. You know, that's really kind of your choice. I'm sorry that's not like a definitive answer for you. But, I mean, it should help you choose, because now you know that, hey, it's in your mind what you're looking for, what you're trying to get out of it. That really sets off your style of the fish. And that's what I think is the great thing about the hobby, is that you can pinpoint it to be more personal like that, that you don't have to do it a certain way. Mane, tails, furs, and fins. See you at Aquashella too. Well, that is awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for the $5 super chat, and awesome to hear that you will be at Aquashella. And it will be great to meet you there. And yeah, I can't wait to see how many people I get to meet. It should be crazy. It's gonna feel weird getting out of this fish room for that long, talking to tons of people. Carrie Havercorn, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. And is that a big old, wow, that flower horn has got a big old hump on its head. That thing is cool. Thank you, Carrie, for the $5 super chat. Great looking flower horn you got there. And thank you guys for the support. Awesome of you. Gary House says, what is the trick to get pea puffers to eat? Feeding California blackworms and scuds. So, I mean, they'll eat when they need to, and they'll hunt when they need to. So they could be possibly feeding off of other microorganisms within the tank as well. Your blackworms, especially if you overfeed them, they'll colonize within the substrate. And when they do this, the pea puffers could be going around nipping at them as they do. And those California blackworms can actually grow off of a separation. And that could be a reason why it seems like they're not eating. Scrolling. Gotta pop a mop in with my killies. Yeah, it definitely helps. Victor says, does it cost much to run a fish room like yours? So the initial costs are definitely expensive, and then ongoing projects. Then like if lights start going out on you, oh my God. But besides that, water-wise and electric-wise, it isn't too bad here. I pay roughly about $700 to $1,000 at most on both. And then food's pretty cheap. Like feeding everything's not too bad, and then the ferts isn't too bad. I mean, really, the overhead's kind of low when I grow everything myself and create everything myself. But there is definitely costs involved for sure. Like literally, I still live paycheck to paycheck. Or well, week to week, I should say. Order to order. But that's only because I'm a project maniac and I always like to do projects too. That's half the fun of it for me, is getting into these projects and creating and building things. And the pond is the one eating all that up right now. Timothy, darling, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. That is huge of you, Timothy. Appreciate you, brother. I have nothing to say, just supportive. And that is awesome. Can You Turk says, I have a theory that dosing a copper med will kill pest snails since it kills crustaceans. I've heard. Do you think it would work? Possibly, but I don't know. I'm sure somebody out in this chat has tried that where they've dosed copper meds and could tell you whether they have any luck with snails or not. So hopefully we can get a view of that here in the chat. But I personally, I don't know. I'm not really sure if copper really kills crustaceans either. Because I still dose my CSM plus B, which has copper in it, in my shrimp tanks. So I don't know. I don't know about the copper thing. I think people back when we first started keeping shrimp, and this was very frequent, they used to go and blame copper pipes for all kinds, for the problems of their shrimp. And I've never once had any kind of issue with any of my copper. I got copper pipes in my house. I think when people are quick to push the blame, let me just say that. Long story short. So I'm not convinced on the whole copper thing. When did you, oh wait, that was talking to somebody else. Rich Castro says, what do you feed those fish? Those are the tetra-colored tropical granules. Flip you guys over again. That way you can get a visual. Visuals are always best. It's like a granule. It's not a flake or anything. Something hearty, like a fish steak. Little fish steak. Full of all kinds of whatnots. It's got that color enhancer in it too, which helps. And I think the reason why the fish love it so much is because of the color of it. Carrie Habercorn says, I know you've answered these questions in the past, I'm sure. When did you get into the hobby? How long after getting into the hobby did you start going all natural? So I always had a tank growing up. As a kid, I was always grabbing stuff out of the creek, putting it in there, whether it be crayfish, minnows, bullheads. My dad had let us play with a 55-gallon. He had Oscars, so he had extra tanks around. He didn't keep like a whole massive amount of them, but we did have a little rack there for a while. And then in middle school, I had my own little tank, community tank with rummy nose and all that stuff. It was all decorative and all the fake stuff. And then I didn't have a tank until like I moved out. I had that one until high school, and then I moved out, went through college, and it was after college I decided that I would want to get back into the hobby and try it out. And then I found out you could have plants, and then that's when it was game over. Once I knew that I could, like once I found the plants, it was done for me. You could create all these environments. It was a deep, deep rabbit hole, and I dove down it. And at that same time, I bred golden wonder killifish, which was really cool for my first fish to breed. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful pair. And man, I was super hooked. And that was probably, shoot, I don't even know. Let's see. At least 15 years ago, if not more. 20 years ago. And then it was recent, like I was going down the planted route then, which I mean you could say is natural, but when I really got, like, put my faith into Mother Nature, quit freaking out about stuff, just really went totally flow with Mother Nature, was probably about 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And I learned most of that from throwing stuff outside. So doing outdoor tubbing and just seeing what all got in there, and then how well my fish were doing, how much they loved it all out there. And then started implementing it more within my fishermen here, and started going the no filter route and everything else, and just starting to see and understand how a lot of these fish and plants and stuff operate just in more of a natural setting.
Um, yeah, that is actually fairly recent, really. That I'm like, where I'm sticking sticks in there. Like, I ain't got no qualms about it. Throw some leaves in there. Like, you just don't care. Throw some Mother Nature in. Now, I'm still controlled with it. Like, I wouldn't just go outside and take whatever I had out there and just like go sporadic in my fish room because they may pick something up. They may bring something in. So you do still want to quarantine. And the trick is that you think about it as an environment, and if this environment's already enclosed, like you get your organics of Mother Nature, and there's like the good and the bad of it, and there's like a balance there of keeping the good and the bad. And I think it could almost come out of most tanks, unless it's something like parasitic or ick or something like that. But when it comes to bacteria and stuff, different fluctuations and necrotic bacteria can show up for different reasons of, like, say a fish dies or something like that. Then you have all these other bacteria that can cause issues or funks and stuff like that. That can come through water naturally because, I mean, more than likely through the tap water or even the spores, the magic of the air. But as far as like parasites and stuff, you still want to quarantine and watch that kind of stuff. It can happen. Like, I haven't really had anything happen. Actually, I have had nothing happen with my outdoor stuff as far as that goes with that parasitic, whether it be ick or worms or anything like that. I have not once picked anything up from outside. I still go through the precautions though, because you just never know. Because those systems were set up properly without anything like that as well. But yeah, Mother Nature, I mean, that's pretty much what I'm here to preach, is the reconnection to Mother Nature in this hobby, and to just make it easier for people, because whenever you do go down that route and flow with Mother Nature and understand it more, it alleviates so much stress that many of us new keepers will have when it comes to keeping aquariums. And I know it's a big fault of my channel because not a lot of people do understand it or can quite just make that leap to put that faith into it. But those who have figured it out, I mean, they love it. I see so many people having success, and that's just what it keeps driving me to share with you guys and help preach that message. Or teach. I don't want to really preach. Even though I kind of got to, I guess. Can You Turk says, how much do you sell your cold shrimp for? So I sell them for $4 a shrimp, which is not too shabby. I like to keep my prices low. Probably got the cheapest Neocaridinias around it, and the best quality. Like, you really can't beat it. Entire hobby is a rabbit hole. Right? He's in a deep rabbit hole with plants right now. Yeah, there's so many plants out there. It is crazy how many plants there are. What is this? Michelle Gibson. I just dropped a bit of prawn omelet into a tub of young angels. They gobbled it up before I could get it out. Oops. I have to be a little more careful. Yeah, those angels are always hungry. And I love a bunch of young angels together. Such personal fish. And they'll just move all together, just watching you. How many striped bass can you keep in a 5.5 gallon long? I think like 3,200 or something. Maybe. If you try real hard. Finn Wiggles says, my condo association started putting softener in the water. How do I keep my Neos alive? Should I buy spring water or well water used to be rock hard? So what you can do is try the GH booster. Now, the only other issue I could think of is sometimes they use stuff in the water softener that just those neos and shrimp just don't fare well with. And I've had some people in the past have issues with them, some have success with it. But you can use the Nilo CG GH booster. It's pretty cheap for a hardener, and then you're just getting that GH in there, which is great. But if you start seeing some die-offs, then maybe you want to go to something else. I don't know about spring water because it depends on where it comes from, how soft it's going to be, and or remineralize it. And plus, that's an extra to do, so anytime you have to add it to do, try not to. So hopefully it works out for you with just a general GH booster, which you want to get in like a powder form. You're pretty much just adding calcium within the tank. And over time, what happens is that acidity will break down that calcium, and then the shrimp can ingest it, this, that, the other. They can scavenge off of it. They also have the, what are those things? Those molds with the calcium molds? So you can get like these molds of like a star or something, and it's just calcium. You can get calcium rock, throw it in there. Crushed coral, throw it in there. The acidity will break it down. And I've got Neos in, I think like last time I tested it. Well, no, it was higher last time I tested it. But I've seen them in lower than 50 TDS doing their thing. They don't breed much at that low rate, but they'll live. And Carrie Habercorn, thank you again for the awesome support. Throwing down a $5 super chat again. Says, love your story. You smiled so much during the telling of it. Thank you for being willing to share your knowledge. Well, thank you, Carrie, and thank you for the kind message, the question, and the support. Like, that is super awesome of you. I could never thank you enough. Any of you guys, I could never thank you enough. And CJ Clays, thank you. Great to see you in here. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. It says, hey, that was a joke. Sheesh. I know it was a joke. I was joking with you, bro. Hopefully other people will know that you can't fit 3,200 striped bass in a 5.5 gallon. And if they try, then I want to see the video. Because that ain't gonna fare well. But thank you for the super chat and the support. Appreciate you, CJ. And once again, sorry if I'm missing your questions here. My eyes get watery just trying to read, scrolling up through this thing half the time. Ooh, that's a good question. Noah Trim says, Lady LRB, what do you think of the hobby life? Well, she's in it now. Yeah, she really likes, I think she likes it. At least she hasn't told me any different. Kidney Turk says, do you go collecting? If so, you definitely should while you're in Orlando. We have some awesome stuff here. Yeah, you guys got everything in the waterways there. I could only imagine. I do like to go I mean, it's been forever since I've gone collecting. It was something I did more as a kid. But yeah, I don't know. See, I know my time schedule for Orlando is going to be tough, so I can't just be like, yeah, we'll definitely go collecting or something like that. Because I definitely know how the time frame, especially with booth and judging and everything else and setups and stuff. It takes a lot of energy to do that with just, luckily I'll have Lady LRB's help, but I do like to go. I would like to at some point. But that would have to be like a separate trip. I love what I would like to get is some bluefin killies from down there. Those tiny little bluefin killies, but I want some from the wild. I used to breed a lot of those. You can community breed those bluefin killies. Really neat killifish too. To watch. I see. Thank you, Carla, for asking people to hit that like button. Appreciate you, Carla. Snail Team 6 says, wonder how long a couple hundred bladder snails would last in an Oscar tank. I don't know, good question. They could bury, depends on the substrate too, and if they got driftwood to eat on and move around. I don't know. Never know till you try. Bladder snails, they'll keep going too. Scroll. Pony Girl says, favorite all-in-one fert for low-tech tanks if you have one. Also fire and ice guppies breeding well for me. Thank you. Well, glad to hear that they're breeding well for you. I absolutely love those female fire ice guppies. They're like little koi guppies. But the all-in-one fert, so I make my own ferts from the powder and do the EI method. There's all kinds of ferts, so I couldn't tell you a specific one all-in-one fert myself because I don't use them. I have never used them. Oh, we're over the hour mark. Buzzer. Lucas, are the rope fish the biggest fish you've had? I had an arowana. He got fairly big until he hit the top of the thing and killed himself. Besides that, that was the biggest one I've had, I think. Yeah, for the most part. Ooh, I want some alligators. Lady Ellerby doesn't want alligators. Always, when I was a kid, I always wanted to have a swimming pool with a big, huge pet alligator I could just chill with. I think that would be cool. But, you know, grow up. That's a dream. Who knows? Maybe one of these days I'll be so filthy rich I can have an alligator pond. Actually, I just have that one alligator. I don't know. Alligators like to be just by themselves, or might want an alligator friend. That's how it starts. Then you got 3 alligators. Then you got 4 alligators. You got 5 alligators. Yeah, those Geophagus Windmill-Rise, those were good size. They weren't bigger than the arowana though, or longer than the rope fish. I guess it depends on how you look at it. Alright, but let's put these tetra-colored tropical granules to work. Are you guys ready? See that poor guy? Look at him, yeah, he's got to be getting chewed on because that looks way worse than it did. I don't know who's doing that to him. Is that you? Did you do that? Killy, are you killing? I don't know how the killy's gonna fare when I put these hill trouts into that other tank because I don't know if I should put the killy in with the hill trout because the hill trout and the killy are buddies pretty much, I think. They're always swimming together. Either way, they gotta go. Be eating my barbs. Those are rare barbs. Can't just go get those Doc and see a Simulus anywhere. Yum, 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 yum. Poor cherry barbs. Look how colorful they are, though. If I'd only clean my glass, you can still see how red they are. What is that? Oh, I forgot I put a different killy in there. I had a single male from last year's killy carnival. Put them in here. As you know, killies and barbs. What a better combo than killies and barbs. Yum, 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 yum. Yum, yum, yum. You guys can't ever get enough, can you? Want some more? Here, we gotta get some to the cherry barbs. Whoa, that guy is darty. Man, he is cool. Hey, easy. It's like a red and green. What? I can't even remember which killy that is. Whoa, easy guys, splashed me. Get me all wet. Oh, Finn Wiggles. Thank you, Finn Wiggles, for the $5 super chat. Awesome of you again for the support. Thank you so much. With the mic drop. Look at that biofilm. That's some real biofilm right there. Oh. Look, I broke it up. Some food. Yum, 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 yum. Yum. Everywhere. I really want to get my cardinal tetras breeding. I know they got to be breed ready. Boom. 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 And it's such a shame, like I got the black-beard algae all over the Nubius. I don't really want to trim it though. I don't lie, I kind of like it. Look, the Nubius is growing up and out of the tank. Crazy is that? That thing is crazy. Yum, yum, yum. Alright, well, I should probably hop off here. I gotta feed all the rest of these guys. So it is their feeding time. And thank you, Sunset Jen, for mentioning I got a video on something. Alright. It's like the biofilm from the movies. Alright, well, I'm gonna hop off here. Because, well, I got stuff to do. I appreciate you all hanging out and joining me on this live stream. Thank you so much. You guys are absolutely awesome. And until next time, everybody, peace. Have a great weekend. I'll just do this like a Band-Aid, short and sweet. The best that I can. Peace.